Coming up on Cronkite News, young Latino voters in Arizona are going to carry a lot of weight in this November's elections. See how much this population has grown.
And Phoenix Sky Harbor just got an upgrade. How city leaders and airport officials plan to expand using federal dollars. And later, Arizona Wildcats football is only 5 games into their season and hitting milestones.
Cronkite News starts now.
Good evening and welcome to Cronkite News on Arizona PBS. I'm Carolina Hassett.
And I'm Mackenzie Hamill. Thank you for joining us. Naturalized citizens could have a large impact in the upcoming midterm elections. Broadcast reporter Olivia Dulles takes a look at a new report that outlines the impact of these voters.
Arizona's naturalized citizen population has grown 6 times larger to more than 63,000 individuals. A big part of this growth comes from young Latinos who are more and more mobilized to vote.
Arizona is diversifying like never before, and a big majority of that can be attributed to young Latinos in the state.
According to a new report on Latino voting in Arizona, it's estimated that 644,000 Latinos will vote in this November's election.
Youth motivation is up across the board. So young voters are mobilizing and organizing at historic numbers to participate in the upcoming elections.
Carolina Rodriguez-Greer from Mi Familia Vota understands the importance of the young Latino vote and is working to empower them.
We have year-round youth development programs. We just held our youth summits over the summer in both Pima County and Maricopa County to get more young Latinos engaged in civic engagement.
Next Gen America recently released a report looking at issues important to this bloc of voters, such as economic justice.
Young Latinos want an economy that allows them to buy a home, allows them to get a car, allows them to get ahead and stay ahead.
17% of registered Arizona Latino voters are between the ages of 18 and 24, compared to 7% of non-Latinos. And 26% of Latino registered voters are 25 to 34 years old, so their voices carry a lot of weight.
And we're doing everything that we can to specifically target young Latino voters and voters of color in Arizona this cycle to make sure that they recognize their full power and potential and make their voices heard at the ballot box.
A number of organizations we talked to are holding events to register young Latino voters across the valley. The deadline to register to vote is October 11th, and the midterm election takes place on November 8th. In the newsroom, Olivia Dulles, Cronkite News.
It might be a little harder to find a job this month. The Bureau of Labor Statistics released a new report today showing a big loss of job openings. The report counted just over 10 million available jobs last month, but that number is down by more than 1 million listings since July. That number is also the lowest it has been since June of 2021. The decline in job openings is likely good for the Federal Reserve, which has been wanting to decrease inflation. However, with fewer jobs and more available workers, wages could also decrease.
The Federal Aviation Administration announced today that flight attendants will soon get more mandated rest time between flights. The new rule increases the 9-hour rest period to a 10-hour rest period after being on duty 14 hours or less. It was just last week when flight attendants were picketing at Sky Harbor Airport asking for change. Federal aviation officials say the change is essential, not only for employees, but passengers as well.
Well-rested crew members are important to safety. They need just as much rest because flight attendants are the foundation of aviation safety's culture, starting with cabin safety.
Flight crew unions say flight attendants are heavily fatigued and overworked. The FAA told airlines about the coming rule changes last week.
Phoenix Sky Harbor will soon get another lane of traffic, which could help passengers and airport workers. Cronkite News reporter Yuri Han was at a press conference today to launch the new runway construction.
This will be the 4th taxiway added to Sky Harbor. This is all thanks to the $260 million federal investment under the bipartisan infrastructure law. Today, politicians and airport workers say they need more room to grow at one of the busiest airports in the world. Nearly 125,000 passengers move through Sky Harbor daily. Those passengers are supported through more than 57,000 jobs, but the airport is looking to expand.
This is a very exciting project for us.
Phoenix Mayor Kate Gallego was joined by state and federal politicians, airport employees, and a representative from the White House to announce the construction of a new 2,000-foot taxiway. She says the new tarmac will allow for better aircraft flow.
That means your planes are likely to take off more quickly, and you'll spend less time on the tarmac, both landing and taking off.
Representative Greg Stanton says Phoenix Sky Harbor's 8,000 flights per week bring new businesses and new visitors to the state, making it a huge economic engine. Its convenient location in downtown Phoenix is an advantage, but also a disadvantage.
That also means that land is a little bit scarce. And instead of growing larger, we have to grow smarter. And that's what this investment is all about. Growing smarter so that this economic engine can continue to help us create jobs, and more jobs.
Sky Harbor has a preliminary design, and union workers at the event today say they're excited to get started.
This project will bring good-paying jobs, wages, and benefits to members and their families.
Phoenix Sky Harbor has already received the first part of the grant. Construction is expected to begin in early 2023. In the newsroom, Yuri Han, Cronkite News.
Arizona teachers can now apply for Salt River Project education grants and earn as much as $5,000. The grants are for teachers looking to enhance learning in the classroom in the areas of math, science, engineering, technology, and social studies. All Arizona educators at public and nonprofit private schools are welcome to apply. SRP will accept applications for the 2023 to 2024 grants until February 28, 2023. More information can be found at www.srp.net/grants.
The Arizona State Capitol Dome will be lit purple tonight to recognize Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Doug Ducey stated that Arizona is committed to preventing all forms of domestic abuse. The purple light is a symbol of support for all victims. The lighting is held by the Governor's Office of Youth, Faith, and Family. The dome will stay lit throughout the entire month of October. Yoga is becoming more popular in Western fitness culture, but there's an even newer movement gaining traction. Up next, how yoga is becoming part of a different rehabilitation program.
Plus, some parts of Arizona got a little wild weather yesterday. We'll let you know what we can expect across the state of Arizona for the rest of this week when we come back.
Let's go right up in here and start having some fun.
Such a thrill to be able to do this.
Recreation is the gateway drug to conservation.
How do you create that perfect straight edge?
You can do anything. History is today.
Chasing the American dream.
Experience something personal.
A place of imagination.
I can go anywhere I want to go.
You guys are just going to love it.
An entertainment experience unlike anything.
There's something for everyone with Passport on the PBS Video app.
On Masterpiece Mystery.
Evil can find its roots so easily in an English village.
The landscape of criminal investigation.
Murder,
almost certainly.
Modern policing methods.
We endeavor to do our best.
We're working hard to solve this case.
And to make sure justice gets done.
It's a new adventure.
And the rest, as they say, is mystery.
I can hardly wait.
Art was one of the powers that made life life. I think we all believed that.
I'ma kick down every single door. I'ma show you what you never ever seen before. So come on, I'ma show you.
This is a real life story of a real live person.
This was my only connection to my culture.
Fight the power.
Our stories deserve to be heard.
You're passionate and you respect your heritage. That is a perfect recipe.
Now is the time for the Reformation. Now is the time to rebuild the nation.
That's amazing.
You're making me cry.
Some girls can go out there and just steal a spotlight.
This is the moment that we've all been waiting for.
Everyone has something to contribute to humanity. The arts are the thing that does that.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
Nearly 60 million people over the age of 12 used illicit drugs in 2020, according to the National Survey on Drug Use and Health. Yoga as part of addiction treatment has become increasingly popular in the mental and behavioral health fields. I talked to one yoga instructor who overcame his own battles to help others.
Jacob Daffner struggled with drugs and alcohol nearly 9 years ago, and nothing seemed to be helping until he found yoga.
It was kind of new and confusing and challenging, but I loved how I felt at the end of it.
Now Daffner says he's found an appreciation for yoga, as it was an integral part of his sobriety journey and passion for his job today.
One of the things I love is full circle. I get to come back to places like Scottsdale Recovery Center and teach yoga here 4 or 5 times a week, which is amazing.
A movement in the substance abuse rehab field is emphasizing using yoga for much more than just trendy athletic clothing.
I think it's a very important part to establish full dimensional wellness, and I think yoga, especially with Jacob and Spiritually Fit, I think it's a very much needed component that has finally introduced itself to the recovery modalities.
I mean, yoga was kind of like some places did it at behavioral health centers and addiction recovery facilities, and therapists would recommend it. Fast forward 8-9 years, and you can't find a place without it.
According to American Addiction Centers, yoga encourages people to eat better and improves quality of sleep that may be disrupted by drug or alcohol withdrawal symptoms.
Studies show yoga activates the parasympathetic nervous system to help boost mood and energy, especially for those suffering from post-acute withdrawal syndrome or symptoms that surface months after they get clean. All in all, it's pretty simple. Moving and breathing makes you feel good.
John Kingsley is a California yoga instructor who also struggled with substance abuse. He says yoga is great, but not as a one-size-fits-all treatment for addiction.
It's become more part of the everyday culture than it ever has. I just think we need to be careful that we don't get too locked in to wanting it to be the end all. And that's something I see a lot in.
Daffner teaches classes for addiction recovery and says yoga as a supplemental treatment tool can do wonders if clients stick to it.
The people that get committed to the stuff that works while they're in treatment and continue to do it when they leave, whatever that might be, so like yoga, for instance, they tend to stay sober longer.
If you or someone you know is struggling with addiction, visit the Arizona Governor's Office of Youth, Faith, and Family site for resources at gyoff.az.gov.
People across the state experienced some wild weather yesterday. There were dust storms, snow, and even a tornado up in northern Arizona. Here's one picture showing the aftermath of the tornado in Williams. The National Weather Service confirmed its wind speeds were between 86 and 110 miles per hour. There was also a dust storm in Surprise, and the Weather Service took these photos of some snow-capped mountains north of Flagstaff. We did see one of those dust storms yesterday in Phoenix. Let's head to Isabella Fredrickson at the Cronkite News Weather Center to see if those skies will stay clear tonight.
Today in Phoenix, we are expecting some much calmer weather, especially compared to yesterday's stormy activity. Starting off with our evening planner at 6 p.m., we are looking at clear and sunny skies and 89 degrees. As we head into the rest of the evening, the temperatures will drop, and by 10 p.m., we are at 83 degrees. Moving on to our state highs in Arizona for tomorrow, besides over in Bullhead City where it will be 100 degrees, everywhere else across the state we are looking at temperatures below 100 degrees. Our highest will be in Phoenix at 95 degrees. And if you're looking for that coolest spot in the state, that will be up north in Flagstaff at 66 degrees. Now, as we look at our futurecast, we will be seeing some interesting weather patterns. We will be seeing some isolated storm activity in different parts of the state, and this includes rain, wind, and even a possibility of snow up north. Finally, as we look at our 8-day forecast, 95 degrees on Wednesday, but as we move into the rest of the week, temperatures will be dropping, and by Sunday, we are looking at only 89 degrees. However, as we head into the next week, temperatures will be back up to the lower 90s. Isabella Fredrickson in the Cronkite News Weather Center.
I'm Joseph Furtado. Coming up after the break, I'll have your Cronkite Sports Report. The Wildcats got it done down in Tucson for their third win of the season. More when we return.
Ain't no time for imitation, ain't no time for playing. I'm just gonna do me.
You know what I'm saying?
Try to stay out of trouble.
Where's the fun in that? You know how ladies can be.
I'ma do what I do.
Did you know newsrooms today are looking for bilingual journalists? Cronkite Noticias prepares you to cover diverse communities. In Cronkite Noticias, you will obtain an unforgettable experience.
Nopales como este van a tumbar.
Cronkite Noticias.
And develop your skills with the latest technology.
That way the flavors will marry nicely.
Can you tell me what I'm looking at?
I'm not looking for love, I'm looking for cookies.
And there's still places to discover.
It just absorbs you.
You can make this at home if you can't find it. I will continue to eat and drink until you get here. Get here fast.
Cheers.
Oh, look at that. Oh, doesn't that look good?
We are going to be eating well.
It does work.
It does.
We got a happy little sky.
We're just getting started.
Welcome back to the Cronkite Sports Report. I'm Joseph Furtado. ASU football is in a stretch of playing 3 ranked opponents in just 3 weeks. The Sun Devils lost to the Trojans last weekend at USC, and some big names were at the game, including ASU President Michael Crow. Dr. Crow also happened to be at the ASU California Center, home to the Cronkite News LA Bureau. Our reporters asked about the search for a new head football coach. Dr. Crow said all possible options are on the table to fill the position long term, including head coach Sean Aguano, who lost both games he has coached for ASU this season. The Arizona Wildcats hosted Colorado Boulder for their Pac-12 home opener over the weekend. The Wildcats were looking to achieve much more than a win on Saturday night. Cronkite News reporter Ryan Meza was in Tucson for the milestone day.
As the Wildcats kicked off their Pac-12 matchup, tempers ran high and the game got pretty chippy, pretty fast. But the energy from the Arizona sideline ran even higher as they started to pull away with the lead in the first half.
I thought they played with a lot of passion today. They attacked the field with great passion. They played really hard.
And that passion led to Jaden Delora throwing 6 touchdowns, along with setting a career high of 484 passing yards. And you can't forget about Jacob Cowing, who reached a milestone with 3,000 career receiving yards.
I wanted to kind of share that moment with my mom. That I've been talking to her since I was maybe like 8, 9 years old. That's something I wanted to do at the U of A. So now that I'm here, I did that. So I kind of brought out the football, kind of shared that moment with her.
Cowing's remarkable performance makes him the 4th receiver in Wildcat history to join the 3,000 club. As Arizona's offense relied heavily on the air game, their receivers made some highlight plays. However, Delora seemed most confident in his catching abilities after his 1 reception.
I know he was the best hands on the team. Is that crazy? This guy is crazy.
With the obvious team camaraderie reaching its peak, Delora and Cowing looked to build on their chemistry. In Tucson, Ryan Meza, Cronkite News.
Well, people are still posting on social media about the Suns' shocking loss to the Adelaide 36ers on Sunday, the first time an Australian team has beaten an NBA team, including Devin Booker, who took to Instagram to let critics know how he feels. Booker posted this screenshot of LeBron James' Memorial 2011 press conference where he looks unfazed when reporters asked him about all of the people rooting for him to fail. Booker added this caption, quote, mood to the post, suggesting he too was unfazed by all of the criticism. Former NBA player Jared Sullinger has Booker's back, saying people aren't giving Adelaide enough credit. He tweeted there are pros everywhere and only 450 NBA roster spots. And after a disappointing season, the Washington Spirit will not be advancing to the National Women's Soccer League's postseason. But one of its players, Gilbert native Ashley Hatch, is still in the running for another postseason award, as Haley Smilo reports from our Washington bureau.
When team officials reached out to Washington Spirit players this year looking for someone to represent the team in the nationwide Community Impact Program, it was a no-brainer for Spirit striker Ashley Hatch.
Our community outreach helpers put out a team message asking if anyone wanted to help with a sports bra initiative of helping collect sports bras for girls in the DC area.
That's when Hatch got involved with Leveling the Playing Field, a local nonprofit that calls itself a food bank for sports equipment. In this case, sports bras for female athletes competing across sports. Sports bras in particular were important for Hatch, who says it can be vital to a young girl's confidence on the field.
I think having the proper equipment to be able to step on the field with confidence is huge. I think it's really important for young girls, youth, to feel confident and to play sports.
Since she got involved, Hatch has helped Leveling the Playing Field give away roughly 5,000 sports bras in just a few months, according to Max Levitt, a Leveling the Playing Field executive. He says Hatch's social media reach with more than 34,000 Instagram followers has been critical to that effort.
I can tell every single time Ashley posts about us on Instagram because donations literally come into our website like one after another.
The Community Impact Program, sponsored by Nationwide Insurance, is also a season-long competition between all 12 NWSL teams to see which one can help its community partners the most. But that's not the most important part for Hatch, who started giving back through her church as a child in Arizona.
A lot of people have helped me get to where I'm at today, so anything I can do to help means a lot.
Hatch finished the season with 9 goals, but the Spirit season ended Saturday with a disappointing 3, 9, and 10 record. Hatch plans to be back next season, and she hopes to continue working with Leveling the Playing Field. In Washington, Haley Smilo, Cronkite News.
Well, while the Spirit finished 11 in the 12-team league, Washington will be hosting the championship game on October 29th, when the winner of the nationwide Community Impact Program will be announced. And polo is known as hockey on horseback. Arizona Coyotes legend Shane Doan traded in his stick for a mallet in hopes to master hockey on all surfaces. Normally, skates and horses wouldn't mesh, but for Doan, riding a horse is just as easy as skating on ice. Doan is making his polo debut in the Bentley Scottsdale Polo Championships this fall. His first practice consisted of learning movements and progressed to hitting the ball while in motion. But despite all the struggles and heat of balancing all the elements together, his newfound polo game, he wore a smile and impressed many of the polo pros observing his first ever polo practice. That's it for the Cronkite Sports Report. I'm Joseph Furtado. Back to you, Carolina.
NASA's Artemis mission may take a little longer to get to the moon, but the space agency isn't waiting on future projects. See how Arizona is front and center of new space exploration.
Let's go right up in here and start having some fun.
Such a thrill to be able to do this.
Recreation is the gateway drug to conservation.
How do you create that perfect straight edge?
You can do anything.
History is today. Chasing the American dream.
Experience something personal.
A place of imagination.
I can go anywhere I want to go.
You guys are just gonna love it.
An entertainment experience unlike anything.
There's something for everyone with Passport on the PBS Video app.
On Masterpiece Mystery. Evil can find its roots so easily in an English village. The landscape of criminal investigation. Murder, almost certainly.
Modern policing methods.
We endeavour to do our best.
We're working hard to solve this case.
And to make sure justice gets done.
It's a new adventure.
And the rest, as they say, is
Mystery.
I can hardly wait.
Art was one of the powers that made life life. I think we all believed that.
This is a real life story of a real live person.
This was my only connection to my culture.
Fight the power.
Our stories deserve to be heard.
You're passionate and you respect your heritage. That is a perfect recipe.
Now is the time for the Reformation. Now is the time to rebuild the nation.
That's amazing.
You're making me cry.
Some girls can go out there and just steal a spotlight.
This is the moment that we've all been waiting for. Everyone has something to contribute to humanity. The arts are the thing that does that.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
Starting today, NASA is conducting several field tests over the next few weeks near Flagstaff. They're using the desert to simulate the surface of the moon. These photos are of previous missions with similar goals. It's all happening at the volcanic craters north of Flagstaff. The first test will replicate moonwalks, and then scientists will experiment with pressurized rovers. NASA says this testing in Arizona is for planned operations on Artemis 3 and missions beyond. That's it for Cronkite News tonight. Thank you for joining us.